should be an absolute like beacon on the map.
You still listening to records and CDs or?
Oh, I'm 100% analog. Like someone came and just kicked the door off the hinges and I went, well, that's definitely happening then. What I wouldn't give just to sit and watch him play for an hour.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of OR8. I'm James.
And I'm Bodie, and very excited to be joined by Darren Holleywell.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's lush to be here. You've put on quite the spread.
You know us. We do it right. I guess we'll just start with a little bit about you. We know you quite well. We work with you quite a lot. But for the viewers, a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do in Berwick.
Well, how far back you want us to go?
Well,
childhood.
You're from Berwick, aren't you? So if we start from there and maybe a little bit of...
Yeah, so I'm Darren. I've grew up in Berwick. So went to school in Berwick. Had a very unsuccessful career in Berwick as a student and young person. So I was, as you two will know already, but I struggled a lot with school when I was younger. Actually got kicked out of school. And the only thing that drew me into school was music. So it was about middle school, coming into high school, where I'd found guitar was something that I was like really interested in. And that kind of hooked me into sort of staying in school. And for me, that was like a lifeline, just something that I could go in to school and look forward to learning some guitar or going to a music room and skiving off in the music room and, just sat doing noodly bits on the guitar. So I'd left school at my earliest possible opportunity that I had and then went and got a job. And then did a series of really unsatisfying jobs like store managers, like retail store managers. And it took me a number of years to realise that I don't care about the price of beans and the markup on a piece of broccoli, and actually decided to start taking my music sort of a bit more seriously. So went and studied my grades and got into doing some like guitar teaching. Started working in some schools and doing some guitar teaching through like my local music hub. It's actually your dad, James, that got me my first job.
Right.
So it's his fault that I got into
So it's my roots to sort of blame for all of this.
Absolutely. So it was your dad. Like I'd worked for your dad a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And he'd got us a couple of jobs with guitar and things. And I started working a bit more professionally, sort of in schools, doing guitar lessons and workshops and things like that. And that kind of led me into sort of working in a formal sort of educational setting, if you like. And I went and worked as the head of music at Berwick Academy, and I was there for sort of 10 years. Taught yourself when you were at Berwick Academy. So that's kind of led me to that. And I was there for 10 years and like really enjoyed working with the young people and helping them with music. But after 10 years, decided that it was kind of, for all the effort I was putting in, the returns for the lots of the sort of the community, there was like kind of minimal for the maximum effort that I was putting in.
Yeah. So
left teaching and started working on my own project, which is called Amped. Mm-hmm. So this sits entirely sort of outside of everything I've done. And Amped's about sort of bringing opportunities to sort of young people, particularly in Berwick, but also putting in some sort of ecosystem for musicians within the town, so that we've got something where young people can learn the skills, go and get jobs and all this sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I mean, it's for the duration that I've known you, it's always been in education. I think you was at the sort of hub when I'd first met you years and years ago through Dad, and then sort of taught me at the high school and all that sort of stuff. I mean, the transition from going from like retail into like teaching and education is quite drastic.
Yeah.
So was that like pushed by a return to Berwick, or was that like obviously you wanted to leave that sort of, like you say, the nasty jobs behind and wanted to do something you really cared about. I get like, where was the care there? Was it to do something new or to feed back a little bit, or?
I think, to be honest, like Berwick, to me, Berwick's like super special, and so I've moved away. So I worked in Newcastle for a little bit with some retail jobs. When I was sort of studying music, I was studying music in Greenwich, so I was back and forth to Greenwich sort of a fair bit as well. But Berwick was, it's like my hometown. It's where my friends and my family are. And actually, we've got a disproportionate amount of not just amazing musicians, but like creatives as well. So my day job, which is where this gets a bit confusing. So my day job is I work for a kind of a cultural investment group that are called Create Berwick. It's a pilot project that essentially invests in creativity and culture. And my eyes were completely opened when I started working for Create Berwick in terms of how much there is that's going on.
Yep.
You've got all these mint groups. You've got like Literary Festival, Film Media and Arts Festival. You've got like all these sort of local independent groups like Straw Yard and Jackal and all these amazing places. And there's so much going on. But what struck me is it's actually the infrastructure that we're kind of, well, particularly for music, that's what we're missing is the actual ecosystem, the infrastructure to hold everything together. But what drew us into sort of music particularly was, one, I felt it was the only thing I was ever any good at. And it was a proper lifeline for us. So if you go through, well, I went through school where I was pretty rubbish at maths and science and whatever else. And if you go through life, we're always feeling like you're not quite achieving and you could be doing better, but actually you can't really be bothered to turn up to the lessons because you're off skiving with your mates or whatever. It's a bit of a hard pill to swallow when like your friends are doing academically well and you haven't quite found your place yet. So for me, it was the thing that kind of hooked me in, not just to education, but like to find my place like in the world. You know, I felt like I had some value and I could like share that with some people. And also like it kind of kills me to know there might be young people that, you know, that's their thing, but they've not got the chance to do it. For all sorts of reasons. It can be like a financial barrier, a confidence barrier, just having someone that actually like sort of gives a crap and like, you know, helps someone do something, gives them a bit of guidance. So that's kind of what hooked me in.
I mean, it pulls a lot with what we want to do here, doesn't it? I mean,
it does,
like,
it all ties in.
Lab8's focus is about the community in Berwick and again, trying to collaborate with the likes of yourself, the Straw Yard, Jackal, Litfest, Slow Food, like, you know, just... we celebrate all these things, but it feels almost individual sometimes. I think that communication is sort of where it can sort of lack a little bit. So again, like, you know, Amped's done like the Discord thing you introduced, you know, like you say, that ecosystem. I think, is there anything else that you sort of plan to do or you'd like to see in terms of like bridging those divides, the gaps that maybe sort of exist between these different like cultural aspects?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Discord's really interesting because one of the things that was fed back to us quite early on is people were finding it really difficult to communicate with each other. And you know what it's like when you're busy on a project and you sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees and you're so boxed in with what you're doing and trying to make what you're doing really good. And I thought Discord is a super easy win where it, you know, completely free to access. We've got people on there of all different sort of skill levels and all different expertise. And like, I don't know it all, you know what I mean? Like I've got my niche that I'm okay with, but if we can pull the community together where we've got experts in sound engineering, experts in lighting, experts in mixing and mastering or improvisation or, you know, whatever, we can pull people together and we can draw on that. And it's like, it's a super easy win. But when I'd set up Amped, it was something that I keep saying with this is nothing that I've tried to make with Amped is nothing's been parachuted in. So I haven't just decided to invent this and go, that sounds good, I'll stick that in the community and, you know, hopefully that lands. It's stuff that I've learned from quite an extensive career working with young people in Berwick and also being a working musician in Berwick as well, is I can see what's missing and I can see the frustration that people have sometimes with lack of opportunities for whatever sort of reason that they might be. So when I built Amped, it was really deliberate to look at sort of what strands we were going to deliver. So we operate with 4 strands. We have play, create, we have connect, and we have perform. So there's 4 strands that we deliver. So the for example, like the connect is about what we've just talked about with Discord, like connecting the community together and sort of sharing like the expertise and getting people to sort of communicate a bit more. The playing side of things is the opportunities, like for actually to get people up on stage and give them an opportunity to, you know, to do something, to see like that end point of, if I practice and if I'm working in a band, we're not just doing it in isolation. There's something over there we can go and work towards. And then the create, whether that's, you've actually been at one of the sessions. Mm-hmm. So create sessions, we're working with young and emerging artists. So we're providing them with spaces to rehearse. We're giving them guidance to sort of write their own songs or rehearse or whatever that might look like. But everything that we're doing is really deliberate and trying to solve a problem. The same with a lot of the feedback we had was, when you want to try and learn something, a lot of people had approached us and said, my daughter wants to play guitar, bass, drums, but we don't have 500 quid to shell out on getting them the equipment that they need. Mm-hmm. And I know what that's like. When I grew up in Berwick, I'm still pretty skint, but when I grew up in Berwick, even more skint, and guitar was what drew me in. When Brian Martin used to have the music shop on the high street. Yeah. So there was a Zach Wilde Les Paul that was like front and center. And at that point in my life, I didn't know who Zach Wilde was, didn't know anything about guitar, but I saw this guitar hanging up. And I absolutely, like, I wanted that guitar so much. Yeah. And if I had that guitar, it would fix my terrible playing.
It's too of an iconic design, I think, as well, when it's hung up.
Yeah. But I'd hankered after that, and I'd go in every week and just sit and jam around on it. And Brian actually, because he knew how much I wanted the guitar and knew I didn't have much money, he says, could you come in and pay like $5 a week and you can just take it away? And like that to me, like at the time, and still now actually, mind-blowing. But he let us go in and pay for it, like $5 a week or whatever money I had a week until it was paid up. But like without that, like that sort of support of someone like sort of giving a crap and going, you know, yeah, I'd take a chance on you. And again, like if I had gigs where I didn't have an amp, he would lend me an amp. So what we're trying to do with Amped is we've set up an instrument library. So people are donating to us their instruments that are either not getting used or they need a bit of TLC to be brought back to life. We're taking them, repairing them and putting them back out into the community. So we've already got quite a sort of a reasonably established library. That's going to hopefully be housed in Berwick Library, so people can check instruments out like books. Mm-hmm. So if you want to try something, you can just wander into the library, check it out like a book, have a go. If it's for you, great. And if it's not, you can just hand it back. So we're just trying to break down those barriers, really.
Yeah. I mean, I relate a lot to most of that. I mean, I got really lucky that my dad was a drummer and had stuff around the house for me to play. Again, got really lucky that it was you that was teaching me at the high school, and you know, you brought in your mics and all your cables. Like, basically, couldn't have done the course without you supplying all the stuff. Basically, I mean, I've dipped into some of the amp library stuff, the guitar amp that I used to gig with the bands, and it is really fantastic work. And I think somebody needed to do it, so it's great that you've sort of just decided it would be you. I think it's a great timing as well for us to sort of hit the ground with this.
Yeah,
it pairs, you know, hand in hand, and I'm really looking forward to sort of getting some stuff done together. I think that'll be great.
I think the fact that as well, like all these creatives can then collaborate as well, which is like perfect timing, and especially with like the summer events coming up, so like lots of festivals as well. One of them being yours at the end of July, which I think would be really good to talk about. Sort of go more into like what the organisation and the process around sort of what the Amped Berwick Fringe Festival is and what it's going to entail.
Yeah, absolutely. Just before I launch into the festival stuff, so you'd said something about that I wanted to just pick up on. Is when you were talking about the sort of the like shared access and stuff, and you know, sort of putting things back in sort of people's hands and the community's hands. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that I don't know whether it's right or wrong to say this, but it's irked me for years that, so because of the way that I felt, sort of that I feel is sometimes if you live in a city, so for us our nearest city is Newcastle and Edinburgh, mm-hmm. and it's proper heartbreaking that if you're wanting to be a sort of a working musician from Berwick, your nearest opportunities to get paid work a lot of the time are Newcastle and Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And again, that's one of the things we're trying to do with Amped is it should never ever be a factor that where you live, your postcode, your background, economic status, whatever, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be a barrier to let you do something.
Totally.
And it really annoys me that we've had, I've taught so many amazing musicians and super talented people, and then we have to kind of wave goodbye to them because the right thing for them to do is to go and pursue what they want to do somewhere else.
Yeah. Or they have to sort of change. They decide they can't do music because there's nothing for them here.
Yeah.
And they go away to uni and do something totally unrelated. Because we were in that same position.
We were, absolutely.
We graduated this time last year, and it was just sort of by chance that all of these things happened at once, and we got to take on was then the community radio project. And we've decided to sort of build it into Elaborate, and we put our heads together and decided what we wanted to do with it. But without that opportunity, we would have had to go. I would have stayed in Newcastle. You probably stayed up in Edinburgh and pursued work as sound engineers. And again, we are in that same mindset, I think, where we want to feed back into Berwick a bit more, give those opportunities to other people, because previously and still standing, they don't exist. And there's loads of opportunities. There's gigs going on, there's venues that need staff, there's sort of festivals that happen year in, year out. So if we can nurture that a little bit and really create something, I think it's down to succeed.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting as well, what you guys are doing, and there's loads of these different sort of groups that are starting to work together and collaborate a bit. And I think Berwick really does have a superpower with, how much amazing stuff goes on and the amazing people that live here. So to me, it's exciting because it feels like it's on the cusp of something, and it's great to be at the sort of frontier of it.
We had the town of culture stuff, the festivals are all picking back up. There's however many new CICs and all these different projects and stuff happening. The creative studios, all brute, everything is just exploding. So like you say, it does really feel like you're on the sort of brink of something great.
Yeah.
And I think we don't have the idea of Berwick being this big cultural hub, in between Newcastle and Edinburgh, and have as everybody's sort of passing through, even if you're playing or you're an artist, sort of pass through and perform at all these venues in Berwick. It just seems sort of daft not to do it.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many artists drive, literally come through Berwick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For the Edinburgh Fringe or whatever else, and it's just, to me, it's crazy. That we should be an absolute beacon on the map.
Area, yeah.
Absolutely. And we will. I guess it kind of leads us on to you're talking about the Fringe Festival.
Yes.
So the Fringe was something. It's probably the bit that most people are going to see of what Amped does, and it's the big shiny thing at the end of the year. But it's it's not the thing that. It's not the only thing that we're doing. It's just the like I say, the showcase item at the end, and it's the big flashy thing. And the Fringe it's a multi-venue sort of Fringe festival. We're really focused on music this year. We're deliberately not calling it a music Fringe in year one because we hope that as it kind of grows, then we can add other elements to it. So whether that's theatre, or comedy, or whatever that might look like. But it's multi-venue. It's over 2 days. So we're treating this as a pilot this year. So it's on Friday the 31st of July and Saturday the 1st of August. So we've got 13 confirmed venues. And there's going to be programming that happens right from the morning till sort of late night. Each of the venues is going to have its own identity and its own type of music that's showcased there. So it's hopefully going to be something really spectacular for the town that we can build on year. We have a showcase of our emerging artists. So we've got some appropriate venues for our emerging artists to go and sort of showcase what they've been doing. It's low access and low entry. So it costs £6 for access to the entire Fringe for the weekend. So you can buy one wristband, £6, and you can get into any of the venues, subject to capacity. I'll have to say that in case people get upset with me. But £6 for an entire weekend. There's going to be workshops, there's going to be gigs, there's going to be all sorts of stuff going on. And I think importantly as well, the wristband model. So we don't, like, Amped as a company doesn't make a penny from the wristbands.
Right.
These wristbands are £6 and 100% of that goes straight back to the artists.
Yeah.
So for every artist that sells a wristband or they get nominated when they buy a wristband, that goes straight back to the artists. So they have a little bit of advocacy for themselves. Also helps get the audiences to the sort of the right venues. And there's hopefully, enough variety that's going to be going on at each of the venues that, to me, £6 a steal for the weekend.
Yeah.
It shines a spotlight on Berwick musicians and regional artists as well.
So is it a focus on sort of local acts as well as bringing in some external names to sort of grow, or is it, like a sole focus on local? Or
so it's heavily local, and we've got regional artists as well. So we've been really lucky that we've had some touring musicians and touring artists that are jumping onto the Fringe this year as well. Amazing. We are deliberately keeping it local and regional because one of the things that we're trying to tackle is more opportunities for local artists. And we're doing that in a number of ways. One is, putting on these events so we've got more chances to sort of perform. Also for like sound engineers and, for lighting engineers and all this. It's a job opportunity, sort of once a year, a big festival where people can, have some paid work coming their way.
Yeah.
We're also working with DMC, so Dumfries Music Collective. So we're working to set up a gig share with them this year. And essentially, they're going to send some artists to the Berwick Fringe on the condition that opens up the same pathway in Dumfries for Berwick artists.
Yeah.
So if we take, 2 artists, they can take 2 artists for their yearly festival and see if we can kind of broaden like the sort of the gigging circuit for us as well.
Yeah. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you face, sort of what you found in sort of the process of your work?
I mean, in the first year, it's definitely been, it's the capacity and time is a big thing for me. So I think what a lot of people might assume is that we're a bigger organisation than we actually are. So currently there is myself that works on this stuff in the evenings in my spare time, much to the dismay of my wife. We do have a group of really amazing volunteers and we're expanding the team. And we are hoping to expand into sort of delivering more paid roles for like the core team that are delivering the Fringe Festival and some of like the core work that we do all year round. Which is really hard because I want to put everything into this because I'm really passionate about it. So I think that's kind of it's a challenge, but I don't really see it as a challenge, to be honest, because you know what it's like if you're passionate about something. It's like, 12, 16 hours goes by really quickly if you just sat and you're really happy to do something. But yeah, that's a challenge. And also starting with nothing. So like I've, started with, set up the CIC with kind of nothing in the bank. Invested some of my own money into getting things set up and, off the ground. So like I'm all in and I'm all invested on it. I think, it's the capacity it's tough at times, but I can see the growth already and I can see it's going to get better and going to get easier, and what we're able to deliver for the community is going to be much more impactful like as we grow. So I'm like really like super excited about it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that stuff as well just kind of unfolds itself as you start sort of launching new bits out into the sort of the area as well. And I think people all come together and sort of, like you see, you've built up some volunteers and things like that, so they can sort of help you with on that side of things as well. Yeah,
and I'll tell you what's mint is, I think I was speaking about this the other day with you, is that what I found really fascinating is as soon as you build something, and that'll be the same for you guys as well, like the right people just seem to find the way to you. Yeah. So the amount of awesome people that have just said like, oh, can I come and help you with this? Or like, have you got any use for me doing this? And there's so many good people around that it's like, it's great, man. It's like proper uplifting. Those moments when you're just knackered and you think like, I just need a day to recharge. And then like someone sort of waltzes into your life and they go like full of energy and like, that sounds mint, can I come and do this?
Yeah, and bringing new ideas to the table as well that you might not have even thought of.
Yeah, well, that's it. And it's like you say, nobody knows it all, and like I'm hyper aware that I'm still learning as I'm going, and there's bits that I know I'm going to make mistakes, And there's things that after we've piloted the first year of the Fringe Festival, I know undoubtedly I'll look back and go, oh, why did I do that? Or wouldn't it be better if we did this? But I'm actually looking forward to hearing like people's feedback from it as well, and saying, you know, what do we like? What didn't we like? How can we do it better? It's the ways we can involve different groups. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be something that's owned by me or by Amped. It should be a proper community festival and something that, you know, Berwick's proud of. So I'm really looking forward to seeing like how that takes shape over the years.
Yeah. I mean, that feeds into like the donations and stuff as well. Obviously, you know, just generosity from people where they're just like, I've got no use for this, come and grab it, and, you know, it'll go to some better place. I mean, you touched a little bit on like some assumptions that people have made, some mistakes that you've made. Is there any sort of like, I guess, assumptions that you made going into it, that like, you know, starting a company or a CIC, or maybe trying to start something in like a small sort of town like Berwick, that you've maybe found what maybe not so easy or not so difficult, you know?
I think one of the biggest things, I kind of laugh about it now, is so when I first had the idea about the Fringe Festival, it was actually in conversation with the lads at the Straw Yard, so Ben and Ollie.
Oh yeah.
And it's ideas that I'd bounced off them and thought like, wouldn't this be good? Wouldn't this be good? And I thought, what a great idea if I just do a little teaser and an announcement of what do we think about an idea of a Fringe Festival? And literally put a post up and went, what do I think about this? And then it went absolutely bonkers. And like someone came and just kicked the door off the hinges, and I went, well, that's definitely happening then, because now it's announced. We've got to do it.
Yeah.
So to me, like, that's exciting because it was just an idea, and there's obviously, you know, like a real thirst for it, and like people want to be involved, and it's exciting, and yeah, I think that's.
It's something new as well that hasn't really been done before. Yeah, we've had a couple of little small festivals and things like that, and the marquee set up around the town. But it's something that's not been put on before, and it's got, you know, a whole host of variety of performances as well in different places. And there's even venues that haven't almost been used as a music venue before that are now sort of becoming more of a natural place to perform there.
Yeah, and again, that's a big thing, isn't it? Is that if we can activate more spaces like for music. Because often businesses want it, you know, and they don't know how to approach it. Mm-hmm. Like this year, and again, like we've spoke a little bit off camera about this, is it's been quite intensive because I'm working quite closely with a lot of venues that maybe haven't put music on before, or not, you know, not for a long time. So it's a lot about kind of building confidence with performers and venues. And what I hope is as it grows, then again, there can be a bit more ownership, you know, from venues to put on more regular nights, like silly things like the new butter market, like the market that's been put on, like that's mint, by the way. Have you been to the butter market?
Not when it's been on. No, I've seen the gates and everything's all open back up. So
you need to honestly,
seen that space is, you know, it's been gates for the past like 10 years.
Go down, so on the weekend, just go and have a wander through. So we'd spoke to town council about sort of the new market, because I thought this is exciting because there's like really good quality stalls on there. Yeah. It's like a proper like continental market. It's like lush. And they'd asked if we'd put some music on just to do some busking. But again, what's lush is, so we just rocked up with a guitar and a speaker and a microphone and just like stood and busked for, you know, a couple of hours. We were paid in like coffees and teas and like good crack. It was canny. But what's really nice is, from that, I've seen every week there's been a new busker that's there. So either raising for charities or, you know, just busking, get some, you know, money in the pockets to help them with recordings or whatever that might look like. But it's those, you know, something as simple as that, as, you know, can we rock up with a speaker and plug in and play? Because it doesn't need to be any more complicated than that a lot of the times, you know, and the more opportunities we have like that, pop-up performances, workshops, you know, whatever it might look like, it's just great, man.
Yeah. And so I guess like big picture, you know, Amped, like the Fringe Festival, you know, it's going to be a sort of year in, year out bigger and a big focus on the town. But, you know, like Amped that's sort of it for you. You're trying to build that into sort of your career now and really establish that as something that, you know, withstands time, or is it, you know, maybe just a venture that you decide to sort of maybe hand off again and try something new? Or
no, like I'm all in on it. That's what I want to do is, you know, I'm 110% in on Amped, and like that's what I want to be doing. That's what I'm passionate about. I think Berwick deserves it. Like we need that ecosystem, we need the infrastructure, and I'm want to take people along with us for the ride. Like want to create jobs, I want to create opportunities, I want to create something meaningful for Berwick. We deserve it. You know what I mean? It's been far too long since we've like had those opportunities. We absolutely deserve it.
Totally.
The Fringe Festival as well, it's not even so much about being like an earner. Like I'll not make a single penny from the Fringe Festival. If it wipes its face and I don't lose money, I'm really happy with that, because I know it's sustainable and we can do it year after year. What I'm keen for is that the artists that are donating their time and the people that are turning up, whether it's sound engineers or venues, whatever it might look like, that they're paid fairly as well. So like that's what it's about for me. It's sometimes hard for people to believe as well, but like I genuinely don't care about like money, and I genuinely don't care about making anything for myself. As long as I've got a roof over my head, I'm quite happy. It's just about if we can make that sustainable, and if we can do that year after year and we know it works, then like that's amazing. We could do more events throughout the year. It doesn't have to just be the Fringe. We can teach people and get you lads to help us teach people the skills that they need. Sound engineering, on we've got a gig, we've got a marquee, come on, we'll set something up, let's create some jobs. Be absolutely mint.
No, I can vouch that I know you quite well, very well, and you're the right man for the job, but very, very sort of lucky, I think, in Berwick that it's
very
sort of you that's decided to take it on. Obviously a lot of expertise, you understand what sort of it needs, what it lacks. The 10 years at the school I think was really invaluable to Amped and setting something up. Really, really excited for you to sort of just take it on and run with it.
In Berwick we have a lot of music going on, lots of gigs, but I think we're going to try and ask all our guests this: realistic gig or not, who would you have playing in Berwick
right now? Is this like my favourite?
Could be your favourite band, could be your favourite artists.
Well, look, this is really selfish of me, but like if I could get Mike Burkett, so Fat Mike from NoFX, is my hero. What I wouldn't give just to sit and watch him play for an hour on acoustic guitar doing some of his Cookie the Clown stuff or solo stuff or NoFX stuff would be amazing.
And where would you get Mike to play?
In my back garden.
Just in your back garden?
Yeah, no one else can come.
Just for me. PA setup.
Yeah. I think, honestly, he would do mint. The barrels would be mint for him.
Yeah.
Doing an acoustic set. Repass would be good for him as well. But I think he might offend quite a few guests at Repass, so probably best in the basement.
Just to keep it, yeah.
Aye.
I guess steering away and on something totally unrelated is how you consume music. So if you're like a streaming man and you're on Spotify or Apple iTunes, whatever, or are you sort of like more analog? You still listening to records and CDs or? Oh,
I'm 100% analog.
Yeah.
Spotify is one of those things that it pains me that I need to have it, and like I have Spotify for like purely for convenience. But I don't like the artist payment model for Spotify whatsoever. And I've tried a few different streaming platforms that are a bit fairer and that kind of align a bit more with like my own ethos of how I want to sort of support artists. I still listen to vinyls. Been trying to get my daughter into listening to vinyls, and like showing her the artwork and stuff and things, because I think it's a proper experience sitting down, listen like front to back, and properly consuming an album.
Yeah. We'll have to wrap it up, but it's been fantastic talking to you. Thank you very much for coming along. Again, really exciting stuff happening with Amped in the future. Is there anything just before we go that people can find you on, like Amped website or social media or anything?
Yeah, so you can search for us on all social medias or just at Amped Berwick, so you'll find us there. Website is ampedberwick.co.uk. You can buy your festival wristbands online, or you can buy your festival wristbands in person at Northern Edge on Marygate. All the proceeds go directly to supporting local artists, so if you haven't got them yet, that'd be mint to go and buy them. It'd be nice to see you at the Fringe as well. It's going to be mint. Thanks for having us, lads.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule as well, because we know how much effort you're putting into all of these things.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you very much for joining us for today's episode of OR8 Podcast. Really looking forward to the next one.
If you want to catch us up, you can find us on our usual platforms at Laborate, and if you find our website, www.laborate.co.uk.
Thank you.
Thank you.